Hello and welcome to today's presentation. My name is Miguel Fra. I am a systems engineer at Falcon IT Services in Miami, Florida. And today we will discuss phishing, what it is, and how to avoid getting phished. Phishing is an attempt to acquire sensitive information or to deliver some type of malicious program onto an unsuspecting user's computer via an electronic communique. This type of attack can come not just from emails but also from social websites, regular websites. You can even be phished through a USB stick. It's basically somebody tricking you into clicking something or doing something where after that's done you're either going to release sensitive information or you're going to have some type of malicious program inserted into your computer. Spear phishing is a little different from phishing in the sense that it's targeted. A spear phishing attack is the person behind it is usually a social engineer who has done reconnaissance or has done their homework on the person that they're trying to phish. So they know a lot about this person, and therefore they're able to send out a more targeted and more well-crafted email that has personal information. And so the person receiving it can be misled into believing that the sender is a trustworthy entity or is the person who is actually who the email supposedly is coming from, instead of the phishing perpetrator. And who's at risk for spear phishing? If you have if you're in charge of bank accounts at your company, you work in the accounting department, if you're the owner of a company, if you have access to intellectual property, into patent secrets, okay, so if you have access to valuable information, somebody can spear phish you. Whaling is a term that's used to spear phish the big fish. So if you're a public figure such as a politician, the CEO of a large multinational corporation, you will get very, very targeted spear phishing because there's a lot of information out there about you, and you are at risk just simply because of your worldwide recognition. So as you can see from this pie chart, most phishing attacks supposedly come from financial and e-pay organizations and banks. About 25% masquerade as financial institutions, banks, credit cards, and things like that. Coming in close, we have online stores and e-auctions such as eBay, Amazon. I'm sure we've all seen those emails that we get from your eBay account is about to be closed, you need to log in. It's just usually a phishing attack trying to steal your credentials. We also get about 20% that come in the form of social networking sites. A lot of people post links in sites such as Facebook, where those links could lead to malicious sites, malicious websites where you can have your computer infected, or into fake sites where they could try to steal your credentials. Search engines, if you get a virus on your computer, instead of being directed to the proper search results, viruses could skew search results. And so going to a search engine, type in the name of your bank while you have a virus in your computer, you can actually, instead of hitting your real bank, you might actually go to the website of a phishing website that's made to look exactly like your bank's real website. IT vendors, people masquerade as IT vendors. If you get emails coming from your help desk stating that there's a problem in the network and you need to click on a link so that the help desk can remote in and fix your problem, or you need to download a program to fix, the best thing to do is to not click on it, but instead just pick up the phone and call the help desk and find out if that email really came from them. And as you can see, the rest is between mass media, online gaming, and government organizations and others. Viruses and phishing do relate to each other. Viruses can aid phishing. As we mentioned prior in the prior slide, If you have a virus that's in your computer, it could skew your search results, and rather than leading you into the correct websites, it might lead you to some fake websites where the perpetrators then try to steal your credentials. Viruses can also inject additional fields into web code. So for example, if you go to your real banking website and to log in you have to enter your username and password, but you might get an additional field that you've never seen before, and it's asking you for the last 4 digits of your social. Well, it seems pretty innocuous. Most people would enter it. After all, they've done their homework. They are on their real bank website. It might be, if you haven't seen it there before and it just seems odd, just be careful. It might be a virus that's inserting that field, because the last 4 digits of our social are usually used by us to authenticate a variety of online resources. So somebody having that it could be a very powerful piece of information. Viruses can also harvest emails from your address book on your phone or on your computer, and then have those emails either sold or placed in a database, which is then sold to people who send out spam or phishing emails. The virus can also look in your address book and send phishing emails impersonating you to the people that are in your address book. One of these has been the email where you're traveling, you've gone to a foreign country, you've lost your wallet, and it sends out, the virus will send out that email stating that somebody's stolen your passport, your wallet, and you need money, and it sends it out to all the people that are in your address book, asking them to wire transfer you money. Also, USB sticks. If you are a high-profile person, or you have access to certain information that's valuable, you have to watch out. People that want to steal that. There's a famous case where a government agency got hacked because some backdoor access viruses were placed on USB sticks, and those USB sticks were left lying around in a bar where they knew that the employees of this government agency worked. And of course the employees found them. They thought they got lucky, and they used them both in their homes and in their work computers, and it wound up infecting the government's network. So watch out if you see lost USB sticks around. If you ever wondered how people get how you get junk mail, or how you ever wound up on a junk mail list, there's a couple of ways. There are automated programs that harvest emails from websites. So make sure that you don't put your email anywhere on the web where people could see it, because like I said, there are bots that are out there, and they harvest any email address that appears on websites, and then your email, will wind up on a database, and the amount of spam and the amount of phishing attempts that you will get will drastically increase. Computers and phones also have address books, and if you get a virus in one of those, it could harvest the emails from your address book and also add those emails to a database that will then get used for either spam or phishing. If you ever notice that from one day to the next you're all of a sudden getting a lot more junk mail, it's probably because somebody that you know got an email, and that email harvested your email address. Somebody that you know got a virus, and that virus harvested your email address from their address book, and it added it to a database of junk mail. Chain mails, we've all seen those where somebody sends an email and then to 100 people, and then those 100 people send it to another 100. As it makes its round, it goes collecting emails, and people can harvest email addresses from that. And if you have a DNS server that has outside access, you have to make sure that it's properly configured and locked down so that people don't steal email addresses and usernames from those DNS servers. Obviously, it's good to never let your guard down, and I'm going to try to debunk a couple of myths here that sometimes people do let their guard down. One of them is people think that they have an antivirus, so they have nothing to fear, and that's certainly not true. virus and antivirus is a cat and mouse game. New viruses come out. The antivirus programmers first have to discover the virus, figure out that it's a virus, and then come up with a fix. And in the meantime, those viruses could circulate and infect computers. Not all viruses are known viruses. There's plenty of viruses out there that sometimes they're out there for a year before they're discovered and before there's a fix to it. So you might have a virus in your computer with antivirus and not even know it. Another myth is that people think that because they have a Mac, that Macs don't get viruses, and this could be, you know, this is the furthest from the truth. The fact is that there are plenty of viruses for Mac. I've seen Mac computers full of viruses, and people don't even have an antivirus on those Macs because they have a false sense of security. And so the viruses are on there and doing whatever they want, and there's nothing to stop it. So make sure that you do have an antivirus even if you have a Mac. Usually this myth has gotten around because since Mac and Linux have such a small market share, first of all, people who code viruses, they prefer to code them for Windows because Windows has such a large market share. That's number one. And number two is that, of course, when a virus infect Mac and Linux computers, they usually don't do the widespread damage, so it usually doesn't make you know, Fox News or CNN prime time, and so therefore you hear more about the Windows-based viruses. But there are plenty of viruses for Mac and Linux. And lastly, people think that because they have an IT department and they're inside of a network that you're safe. Security is multi-layered. Your IT department does their job, but it's also your job to make sure that you have some awareness and that you do your best to prevent you know, any viruses from coming into your computer or any phishing scams for you being a part of that. So again, most IT departments will try to educate the end users and try to build some awareness as part of a multi-tiered system in which security is not only done through firewalls and through UTM, but also through training and education. So we've all seen the email no-nos before. We hear about them in the news. Don't open attachments, especially zip or RAR files. If you need to open up an attachment, call the person that sent it, ask them if they sent it, so that you could validate their authenticity. They used to say, don't open an attachment if you don't know who it's from, but don't open it even if you know who it's from. Call them and make sure that they send it to you. Because if a person gets a virus, that virus may go through the person's phone book and send itself out to everyone that they know. So you receive an email from somebody that you know and it's got an attachment and you think it's safe because so-and-so sent it. He might not, or she might not have really sent it. It might have been a virus that they got that's sending it out. Also, when analyzing attachments, look for attachments that are out of context. For example, if you get an attachment called business meeting from your 15-year-old, it's probably not real. It's out of context. Or if you get an attachment from your boss that's entitled, I love ponies, look at this, it's probably not real either. So look for attachments that are out of context as a sure sign of them being fake. Don't click on email links that take you to websites. If you need to go to a particular website, for example, if you get an email from your credit card company and they're telling you that there's been a breach and they're asking everyone to reset their passwords, don't follow the link on that email. Instead, open up a browser, type www.yourcreditcardcompany.com and go directly to their website. Because when there are news in prime time about companies getting hacked and the companies try to go out there and tell everybody, hey, reset your password. People that are sending out malicious emails, they know this. So right around the same time, they're going to start a campaign of sending out phishing emails. As the entity that just got hacked or just had their database stolen, and you might think it is from them because it's happening at coincidentally at the same time. So always be wary of that. Again, phishing is an attempt to acquire sensitive information by masquerading as a trustworthy source, your bank, your credit card, PayPal, whoever. It can come from a variety of different mediums. Beware of emails that are out of context. Also, beware of emails and hyperlinks and attachments from chat rooms and from social media sites. Be wary of zip. We all have seen UPS and FedEx with the attached zip files with your tracking. UPS and FedEx, they do send out tracking information by email, but they don't come as attachments. So just be wary of that. The IRS doesn't send out emails. They use postal mail to communicate with you. Banks and credit cards, they don't send out attachments either. So just watch out for attachments. Also, risky attachment type, zip, RAR, EXEs. If you can avoid them altogether, have your IT department strip them at the server level so that they don't even make it into your inbox. This slide shows a typical phishing email. This one is allegedly coming from Intuit Payment Networks. If you look at the from address, you'll see that the from address doesn't match the from. It's a realliving.com instead of from Intuit. So this is one way to tell if it's fake. However, you shouldn't guide yourself solely by that, because a lot of good, well-crafted phishing emails will actually show that it's from the place that they're supposedly sending from, because the from address could be spoofed. In other words, it could be faked. So don't guide yourself by that, but look at that as just one of the possible ways to tell if it's fake. Another one is some of the information that's contained. A lot of the people that send out, unless they're sending a spear phishing attack, which is, again, they know information about you, when they send out these mass mailers of phishing, they don't really know who's going to receive it. So they put a lot of generic information. In this case, you see the bank account ends with 9513. Look at your checkbook and you'll find out that that's not your bank account. That's another way to tell if it's fake. The use of threats. If there's one thing that phishing websites and phishing emails have in common, is that they use threats and a sense of urgency. If they allow you time to think, they may lose you, because once you think about it, you may come to a conclusion that it's fake, or you may come to a different realization. So they want to nab you as quickly as possible. So if you see threats that your credit card's going to be canceled, it's going to be declined, your bank account money's going to be transferred out, that type of urgency and threat is a telltale sign. And lastly, and one of the best ways is if there's hyperlinks, hover your mouse over the hyperlink and look at the address. In this hyperlink, even though you can't see it, but behind it, there was a hyperlink supposedly for you to go into the Intuit Payment Network. But when you move your mouse over it, you see this hyperlink. It shows the actual location, and it's hspps.net. That's not Intuit. This is exactly the same scenario here. This is a very well-crafted email. It looks exactly like the type of emails that eBay sends out, and it could fool anybody. It's that good. However, if you move your mouse over the Respond Now button, if you hover your mouse over that and you look at the bottom where it's showing where the hyperlink location is, you'll see that it's lan.ru. It's Russia. It's not eBay. And also, another trick that they use is they bought this domain name called, they put a child domain called signin-ebay-com-very. So they try to, obfuscate the URL so that it's got the words eBay in it, but you really have to look at what's called the fully qualified domain name. And on the next slide will show you how to look out for that. Excuse me, on the slide after this one. Again, here you can also see that if we move our mouse over the hyperlink, it shows a different location. This one supposedly is coming from LinkedIn, but if you look here, it leads you to spandau.de. I had to think about putting this slide of somebody's butt in my presentation, but the fact is that this type of phishing attack happens often. If you look here, there's a person named Andrea Rosales, and she's sending an email saying that she's made this video just for you, and she hopes you like it. But then, obviously, as you could see here, you'll need to click on a hyperlink to get the codec to be able to watch the video. This type of phishing scam, you just have to use your common sense. You probably don't know Andrea Rosales, so you might think, well, maybe she meant to send it to somebody and she sent it to me by mistake. Well, wishful thinking. The odds are 0.0001 that she accidentally sent it to you. The 99.999% odds are that it's being sent out not just to you but to a lot of people, because the person that sent it knows that somebody is going to click on this hyperlink to try to get the codec to watch this video, and then at that moment you're going to either be infected by a virus or some kind of malware. So just use common sense when you see these types of phishing websites, and they come in social media, Facebook, they could come in hyperlinks in sites like Craigslist. Just be very wary. Also, don't friend or connect to people that you don't know. If you get a lot of people asking you for connections and you don't know who they are, don't do it. If you connect to them or you friend them, you're giving them access to information that the general public doesn't have access to. And in turn, this could be used by them to later on use spear phishing against you, because they'll have a lot of detailed information about your personal life. Okay, so here we're going to show you how sometimes people that do phishing websites will kind of obfuscate the URLs. And here we're looking at halifax.co.uk. If you look at the top, this is the real website. And just like we place folders, and inside them we place subfolders to organize our files on our computer, websites do the same. So in this halifax.co.uk, there's a / and then there's a folder. Then there's a query folder. Then there's another folder. And this is a way for them to organize it. Now, modern browsers will take what's called the fully qualified domain name, which is this right here, and they will present it to you in dark black. And then the the folders and the queries will be presented to you in gray. So you need to look at the black if you want to know where you are. If you look at this second one down here, you can see that the whole line is black. And that's because what they did is they bought a domain and they added child domains. And the way that works is they know that people read from left to right. So you look at this down here and you say and you see www.halifax.co.uk. You think you're there, but you're really not. Okay, you are at credit0-creditcard-inca.- somewhere. You can't even read the rest of it because it's so long. The URL is so long that it runs off there's not enough space to be displayed in the URL bar. And the reason that they do that is because they know that people read from left to right. And then they as you can see here, the second part is credit cards, to try to look exactly like if it was the subdirectory on the real website, okay, to try to trick you. So look for the dark black URL and make sure that you are in the right place. Also, people could buy a variety of URLs, and a lot of times the people that are setting up fake websites will buy URLs that have the name of the company that they're trying to imitate or mimic. In this case, you see they're trying to mimic PayPal. And this was actually a very good copy of the PayPal website. But if you look at the URL, it's PayPal-account-protection.com. That's not PayPal's site. PayPal's site is just PayPal.com. Now, since PayPal's a registered trademark, I would imagine that once this is discovered, it's going to get taken down. But sometimes it could be weeks, months, maybe even a year before somebody figures it out and they're able to take this website down. So always look at the URL, look at the actual name of the URL, and so that as a way to know where you are. Another type of phishing site, I ran into this one a few weeks ago while doing research for a Sharp printer that had an error 3332. This is a phishing website, and its purpose is to install a program called RegCure Pro, which is probably some type of malware. And so the internet is great. We could use it as a reference guide. It's a lot of people, it enables us to do research. If we have a broken fridge, if we don't know how to use our phone, our computer, we can always Google or Bing, search it, and find plenty of websites that have answers. But you just have to be careful because some of these websites are malicious. This one is one such website. Now, fortunately, I'm technical, so after reading the first line and seeing that the website's telling me that error 3332 has a 97% chance that it's a registry issue, I knew that was fake, because printers don't have registries, and this was a Sharp copier that had this problem. It had nothing to do with Windows. So right away I could see that they're just trying to push this registry fixer on me, because if you look here and you look here and you look here and you look there, it's hyperlinks all trying to do the same thing, trying to get that program onto my computer. Another telltale sign was that as soon as I went to this website, it tried to actually install the program without my permission, and that's when I got this pop-up down here. With modern browsers, okay, where it's hard to get a drive-by like it used to be, where you'd visit a website and it would just install a program. The website actually now prompts me if I want to install this program or not, and I have the ability to hit run or save or cancel. So when you see these type of things, okay, pop-ups that ask you, do you want to run, do you want to install, just make sure that because a lot of times people just click run, or just because this thing pops up and you want to get rid of it. Just make sure that you understand that if you're visiting a website and all of a sudden something like this pops up, that it's probably coming from that website, and be very careful. Also, in this particular website, I thought I was going to call a number and this was going to be fake, but somebody actually came out, and when they came out, I spoke to them for about 30 seconds, and within 30 seconds they told me that they were going to remote into my computer and install a diagnostic program. Again, they're trying to install. The purpose of this website and of this company, it appears to be that they're just trying to install this RegCure Pro on my computer. If you have a good firewall, a high-end firewall, a lot of them have what's called Unified Threat Management, and it's usually a subscription where you pay a yearly fee. But if you have a firewall that supports it, I would highly recommend this. UTM will help you in a variety of ways. All the traffic coming from the internet will get scanned by the UTM device, and it'll be checked for viruses and for malware. And if it's deemed safe, it will then allow that traffic to flow into your local area network. The other thing that a UTM will do is it'll check URL when somebody from inside the network wants to go to a website. It'll check that URL against known phishing sites, and it'll block those types of sites. And you can also, most UTM filters will have what's called URL filtering, so you can block out categories such as pornography, gambling, peer-to-peer, proxies, and other types of websites which are usually conduits for malware. And here are some very common phishing scams. We probably all know about them. The lottery scam, where somebody informs you that you've won a foreign lottery and they want you to transfer money to them to cover either the taxes or the wire transfer costs. The fake checks, where somebody buys something from you on Craigslist, eBay, and they send you a cashier's check, and and actually sometimes they even send it for a greater amount and ask you to give them the difference in cash. So now when you take that check to the bank, not only did you lose your product because the check is fake, but you've also lost some additional money that you've given to them as well. The Nigerian oil magnate, we've all know that one. The relative in a foreign country who is, or a friend who is, who lost his wallet or had his wallet stolen and his passport, and now needs you to wire him or her money. And of course, the password reset. This is very common, especially when a real hack occurs, and you see on the news that the company is asking its users to reset their passwords. That's a great time for malicious attackers to start sending out similar emails with hyperlinks to fake websites in the hopes that the users will enter their credentials into a fake website and then expose those credentials to the person that's trying to either pilfer your bank account or your credit card or what have you. If you suspect that you've been phished, obviously you want to change your passwords, monitor your credit card, bank information. Maybe contact a consultant. If you look online, there are some free agencies that do consultations on this type of scams, on these types of scams. And if you work in a company and you feel that your computer's been compromised or that you've been phished, please contact your IT manager. Thank you. And before we go, I would just like to mention that we offer a variety of webinar and trainings. If you want to see their availability, you can go to www.falconitservices.com, and on the homepage look at the webinar and training calendars. And if you would like to be included into one of these live trainings where we have Q&A, just send me an email. It's Miguel, M-I-G-U-E-L, at falconitservices.com, and just write a note to me asking me to include you in the next mailer announcing the next training. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.